Hey y'all, Pink Lady here. Welcome back to another episode of Bet on Yourself, Sis. Today's episode is with Pam Brown, who is the owner of Down for Paws Dog Training, which is based in Norwood, Massachusetts. Pam is a certified dog trainer, animal communicator, and psychic medium. She helps busy families deeply understand their dogs by bridging the communication gap and transforming behavior through connection, clarity, and compassion. In this episode, we talk about animal communication and understanding dog behavior and training and all of that good stuff. We talk about the importance of lifestyle changes, authenticity in entrepreneurship, mindset shifts for success, and of course, we talk about entrepreneurship and building a business. So, this episode was a shorter one, but don't worry because it is still packed with insight and gems, and it was a really great conversation between me and Pam, and I know you'll enjoy it.
Yeah. Bet on yourself, sis. Bet on yourself, sis. You've got the goal, confidence and style. Let your power show. You such a
Hello, Pam Brown. It is
Hello.
so good to be here with you. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good, good, good. I'm so happy to be talking to you. So, those of you who don't know, Pam and I met last year when we went to an entrepreneurship boot camp called The Blocks. I'll share it in the show notes if you're interested in more. It's actually a reality show for entrepreneurs
Hmm.
and a boot camp. So, I
Yeah,
will share
definitely.
those links. You can watch the our season if you want. You can apply. You can do all of that. All of that will be in the show notes. So don't worry. But Pam, I knew I wanted to
Yes.
talk to you because I love dogs. I
Hmm.
don't own any dogs yet, but that is
Okay.
definitely coming. And your business, I think what you do is really, really cool because I think when we hear about like dog training, a lot of the
Hmm.
times we hear about like obedience or like breaking the dog, and you do something
Yep.
completely
Please.
different. And I really love that. So
Absolutely.
please tell the
Absolutely.
people who you are and what you do.
Yes, yes, yes. So my name is Pamela Brown. I'm the owner of Down for Paws Dog Training. What I do is help busy families train their dog in a way that it is seamless and so the training lasts a lifetime. But also I incorporate, now I do, animal communication. So I can build the gap between human and dog so you can understand what's going on.
Yeah, that is so cool. I really want to hear more
Hmm.
about the animal communication piece because
Yep.
we see all these videos where the you see the animals like pressing the buttons and kind of talking to
Yes.
their owners,
Yes.
and that is like my mind is
Hmm.
blown.
Yes.
So
Yes. Yes.
please
Yes.
talk more about that.
So, animal communication, just to clarify, um, just as you said, animal communication with buttons, that's yes, that's a different form of communication where you can teach your animals to press buttons to communicate their needs. My dog actually will communicate he wants to eat, so I taught him one button.
Oh.
And so that's a way to communicate. But the way I communicate with animals is more on a spiritual level and
Mm.
a psychic level. So what that means is I'm able to speak with your dog, kind of like we're speaking to each other, and that is very helpful. Per se, if you call me in to train your dog and say they have reactivity issues or they
Mhm.
shut down, maybe they come for shelter, you don't know what's going on. I'm able to tap in with the dog and get a little bit more insight, and it helps brings the training all together. But there's definitely different, depending on who you're talking to, there's different forms of communication. But the one I practice in my dog training is the one where I'm talking to them spiritually.
I really, really love that because
Yep,
I absolutely believe that, animals have souls too, and they are close to the
absolutely.
divine. So,
Hmm.
the thought of like breaking a dog or making them be obedient to you always, it never sat right with me. I always felt,
Hmm.
really strangely about
Yes,
it. So I love what you're saying. Can you talk more about like how you got into
absolutely.
dog training in general, but also how you got into communicating through like
Hmm.
spiritual and psychic levels?
Absolutely. So we have to take it back like 10 or so years. So to fast track a long story, my background is in biology and fine arts. I was a researcher for over 10 years.
Mm.
But as time went on, I got in a horrible accident. I'm out here. I didn't want a dog because I knew how much, no, seriously, I have to start from the beginning. I didn't want a dog because I knew how much work it would take taking care of once I had them as a child. So
Mm.
having a whole household to take care of, my child at the time was like 6, and then my husband, he had a strenuous work schedule, but they wanted a dog. So I'm like, mm, I don't know. I don't know. But I
Right.
caved, right? And so I get the dog, and the dog's like, I'm not a trainer at this time, driving me crazy. So fast track, at that time, I was extremely sick. You'll find, if you're a dog owner, some people can relate. If you or any pet owner or any dog or any pet that you love, during that time, what I realized, yes, he was driving me crazy, but he also was like, consoling me at a time
Mm.
when I needed. And what most people don't know is that dogs are very intuitive as well. They pick up on our emotions. They know when you're sick. They know when you're happy. They know when you're sad. One key tip that's easy to figure out with your dog communication: if you want to know if you're sick, if your dog comes up to you and just like lays there head on your knee or things
Mm.
like that, usually they know that you're depressed or maybe you're coming down with a cold or something like that. So during that time, I went through a really, really bad accident where I wasn't working, doing a lot of crying. The dog was driving me crazy. But at some point, I realized, like, wait, I don't think I'm meeting this dog's needs, my own dog. And so once I turned it around, it was like, what does he want? Like he was like a puppy at the time. I was like, what does he want? And so once I started to really like look at him like, okay, well, he's not just acting out. He needs more attention. He wants food, or he wants, not that I was feeding him, but this and that. So throughout this time, one thing that I do practice is mediumship. What that means is I talk to people on the other side. So I had no idea about animal communication, but I'm scrolling Facebook and then I realized, like, wait, if I can communicate with the other side and I see this
Mm.
woman who offers animal communication, let me see if I can bridge the gap there. And so I not figured out, but I learned how to use my mediumship in animal communication where I can tap in with them. And so, mind you, from the time my dog was acting crazy, I became a trainer because one
Mm.
thing I did realize before the animal communication is that, if I'm struggling, then most people are struggling.
Mm.
And it's more than just teaching your dog sit, stay, and things like that. And
Yeah.
you only know what you know. Me going into it, I'm like, oh my God, this dog's jumping all over the place. I need someone to come in and teach him sit. But it's more about your lifestyle, routine, and things like that. So I'm like, I need to be the person to go into the homes and teach these busy families how to get, like, I'm like the super nanny for dogs if you're in that era.
Yes.
Go in and they think I'm in there training a dog, but I'm really looking at the whole environment and speaking to the
Mm.
dog. So one of the things, after, like I said, the dog training school, I went into animal communication, and I didn't start implementing that into my dog training until, early last year. And so how that works is not everyone will be open to hearing like, hey, do you want me to talk to your dog? So you have to be really mindful about introducing that within training. And so usually I am a very friendly person. I'm very open. I always say in dog training, tell me everything because that's going to help your dog. Like they say, you don't want to lie to your lawyer, your doctor, whatever the third
Mhm.
one is. Don't lie to your dog trainer because it's not going to help your dog. I need to know that you made a mistake and let your dog out and they got into a fight. I don't want to hear about it the
Yeah.
third session. All these things are helpful. So I really do want to hear about their, life experiences. So once we get to know each other and then we're talking, and then I'll say, hey, I do, I explain to them about how animals communicate, how I communicate, and hey, your dog is saying something. Do you want to know? And
Mm.
usually, once they're on board for that, it's like a three-way conversation where I'm like, hey, your dog is saying that, he wants more of your attention. You're busy. And they're like, you know what? You're right. And you
Ah.
would be amazed to know that, you would be amazed. It's subtle changes a dog's behavior. A lot of times they don't need changing, they just need understanding what their needs are.
Mm.
And usually 9 times out of 10, once I come in and just have that conversation, it's okay.
Yeah. Wow, I love how
Hmm.
you say it's like a three-way conversation. It's like me interpreting what your dog needs and letting you know, and then
Absolutely.
going back and forth, right? That is
Yeah.
really cool. And
Hmm.
I've really
Hmm.
never heard that perspective before, especially for dogs who,
Hmm.
may come from the shelter or you don't really know their
Absolutely.
background, right? Like they have certain
Hmm.
behaviors that is like, so cool to me.
Yep.
Um, can you give us maybe an example of a like success story that you had where you did something like that and there was a change and now
Hmm.
they're doing very well?
Yes, just recently, working with a family, and the dog is very, very hyper. A
Mhm.
family, mom and dad, two young children, both very busy. And ideally, when I start off training, I like to just implement it straight up without the animal communication, no chaser. So, um, going in, the dog was just extremely hyper all the time. And I implemented the training stuff like the routines, but the dog just seemed not to chill. And what I noticed is the dog was anxious, but how this starts is I go in, like I said, no training, but then the dog will be like, excuse me.
Mm.
And I hear it in my mind, like someone saying hi. Like just think if
Yeah.
I was to say hi to you right now. And I'm like, oh, they're trying to communicate. They must know I can communicate. So I don't go in and like, hey, I'm gonna, doggy, come talk to me. I let them come to me unless, the person knows. And so the dog was just telling me that, hey, um, it's hyper because it needs more attention, and you know, at night, uh, it just everything's going on, dinner and whatever it may
Mhm.
be. So I spoke to the mom, was like, at this point she knows what I do. And I'm like, your dog is saying that at nighttime, it just wants attention. And this is where it gets touchy because you don't want to say you're neglecting your dog, which they absolutely
Mhm.
wasn't, but you have to be kind of tender. And so I said, I think she wants more like me time, alone time, because I could, how I see it is everything plays in my mind like I'm viewing a video. So
Mm.
when I'm speaking to the dog, it's not like I hear words, but also they'll show me like a scenery. And so I told her, I was like, I see two people sitting on the couch and the dog's over here, but you guys are over here, and she wants to be over here. And the mom was like, she put her head down. She's like, yeah, she's
Mm.
absolutely right. And it almost makes them stop in their tracks and think like, oh my gosh, I don't spend enough time with the dog. And it's not intentional. It's just
Yeah.
sometimes they need to hear it or hear it come from someone else. And so she's like, oh my gosh, okay. I was like, and the dog said she wants to sit here. She wants to do this and that. She's like, that makes sense. That makes sense because the dog's showing me everything. And so I come back the next week and she's like, you know what? Things are a lot better. It wasn't 100%, but just making that small change
Yeah.
helped the dog decrease the energy on top of other dog training, actual factual stuff. So
Yeah.
things are going good. And so what will happen, because I'm still working with them, is when I go, the dog will probably talk to me again. But it's something I incorporate, but I try to incorporate it at the time when I most need it. Like if I'm just stumped, but if, like I said, the dog's coming from shelter, maybe they're shut down and we just don't know, then I'll be like, okay, let me tap in and see what's going
Yeah.
on. But my
Yeah.
long-term goal, because people do love their animals, they do want to know what they're saying, is just to fully engulf my business with this and just help people even further.
Absolutely. That is so cool.
Hmm.
And I can only imagine it's super helpful, right?
Yes.
Because
Yep.
a lot of the times we're just too close to the situation to see what is actually wrong, right? And even if we
Exactly.
know what is wrong, what do we do about it, right? Like that's why we got to
Exactly.
call in the experts. That's the whole
Hmm.
point of it. So,
Yep. Hmm.
yeah, I really love that.
Yep. And then one of the things I have to think about too, going back to when I was just all flustered and stuff, people, when they call me, ideally, they're having issues with their dogs and they don't have the most time in the world. So the training that's implemented is ideal that they see success right away, not saying that things are going to change right away. But what I focus on is what's going to give them immediate
Mm.
relief, and let's implement that first. And then we can go into like small changes that are realistic that can last, because there's nothing worse than calling in a trainer and the dog's okay, then a few months down the line it's like, what happened? So before I leave you, we will talk about what's normal for the future, what's not, and you always will have lifetime access to me because I just think that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
so right. When, it's like a diet, right? Like
Yeah.
we change these three
You
things or we
get
go
it.
on a diet for however long and then we
Hmm.
can't it's not sustainable, right? Like so having those things that
It's
we
lifestyle
can
changes, as they say.
absolutely, lifestyle changes, that's so right, and
Yep.
it's like, a holistic way
Holistic.
to deal with the
Exactly.
dog, right? Like, that is it's not
Exactly.
just changing one thing, it's like you said, lifestyle change and kinda
Yep.
dealing with everything. The mental people don't even think about, like, their pet's mental
Yeah.
health, right? We
Yes.
we
Yeah.
always think about their physical health, um
Yeah.
I had a client a few years ago who she's a dog trainer too, and she brought up something that I had never thought about, and I just want to talk to you about it and maybe get your
Yeah.
thoughts on it too, about a dog's lineage, right? Like certain dogs come from different wolves
Yes.
or animals or
Mhm.
whatever, right? Their
Mhm.
lineage, and they need different things. I think you said it in the beginning,
Yes.
right? Like I
Mhm.
wasn't, I didn't know what my puppy
I
needed. So I had to figure out like
no.
what my puppy needed, right?
Yep.
And a lot of the times
Mhm.
what they need is kind of based on like their
Ah,
lineage of
you get
that
it.
is so
Yes. You're gonna
I
be a
thought
good
that
dog
was
owner.
so cool, right? Like you wondering why
Yes.
certain dogs like to run and like to play, right? It's because that's just their
Yes.
lineage. So can you talk more about
Yes.
that?
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're bringing this up.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I so wish, and this is one thing, if you call me, I'm going to help you through. If you haven't found a dog yet, I love when people come like, I'm thinking about getting a dog. What should I do? Because there's different breeds
Ah,
depending on the situation that's going to be ideal. Like you don't want a Great Dane in an apartment or a Bernese Mountain Dog that's like 100 pounds in an apartment, but you only know what you know, right? But ideally, you're absolutely right. Certain breeds, they have certain temperaments, certain training requirements. For instance, I have a French bulldog, and they are very stubborn. They're very bullheaded. They're hard to party train. And so, if I wasn't a trainer, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get the dog. 'Cause remember, they were all popular a few years back. That's when I got one
mm-hmm.
too. They're all cute and stuff, but down the line, you'll realize because of their breed and who they are going to require a little extra training, a little extra affection, and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. So, what you're saying is ideally, you want to take into consideration your lifestyle and the dog's needs and make sure that you can meet them and make sure they can meet your needs too. Like, I would
Mm.
never get a dog that needs like a 3 mile run because I'm not doing that.
Yes.
So please don't, yeah. So take and don't do hypotheticals either where like, you know what? I think I want to get into running this year. It'll be okay. Maybe the dog will give me no.
No.
Please, if you're a couch potato like I am sometime, make sure your dog is too. But definitely the lineages come into play. And what I will tell folks, whether you have a dog now or getting a dog, you go to the AKC website, American Kennel Club. They have all the breeds on there. It'll have what food they like, how easily trainable they are, everything you need to know about that breed. And you can go through that and just kind of decide, like, before you get that dog, is this breed right for me? But definitely lineage does play a part in it.
Yeah, that's such a great point. Thinking about does
Hmm.
the dog meet your needs, right? Like I
Yeah, you would
think
be happy too.
right, like that's the point of you getting a pet, right? Like
Hmm.
you
Yep.
don't want to get a pet that's going to take up all your time or that's going to need
The
so
deep.
much of
Oh,
you, right? Like it
exactly.
has to be
Yep.
give and take, got to be mutual. That is such a good point. I don't think a lot of people think about that at all. I think
No,
most
one
people are
thing.
like, I
Mhm.
want to get a dog and I'll just get a
Yep,
dog,
go on
whatever.
Pet Finder or find a friend, and they're like, "Oh, it's cute," and then down the line, they're like, "What did I get myself into?" I'll
Mhm.
I'll never forget when I got my puppy, and I was taking him everywhere, and I was like, "This is great, little clothes." And my aunt was like, "You got a puppy?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "You know, it's like having a baby, right?" I'm like, "No, it's not. How dare you?" And then 6 months later, I saw her. I'm like, "You're right. You're right. It's like starting over again." And
Mm.
I, some people will say, "Oh, why do you compare dogs to kids?" I swear to you, it's no different.
Mm.
No different. This, of course, they're dogs, but it's no different in the sense that they don't know anything.
Yeah.
Some people think dogs know how to walk on a leash because they're a dog. They don't. They only know what they see you do and what other
Yeah.
dogs do. And so that's why it's so important, like I say, to go to the website, know what breed you're getting, and know what your realistic lifestyle is.
That oh my gosh, because I think most people assume just like you thought, like, no,
Hmm.
it's gonna be easy. It's just a pet, right? Like it won't it'll
Hmm.
just be a thing added to my plate, right? It's
Yes,
not gonna take up all my
absolutely.
time. Ugh, and then
Hmm.
you get in it and you're like, oh
Yes.
wow.
Yes, exact. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny because that is my partner kind of thought the same way. We were gonna get a dog
Mhm.
at first, and then we're thinking about it, and we're like, maybe let's
Mm.
start with the cat because cats are just
Yes.
they're different.
Easy.
They're
Yep.
a lot
Yep. Yep.
easier. They're
Yep.
especially
Mhm.
if they're trained to use the bathroom, like that's pretty much all you gotta worry
Yep.
about, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
With a cat,
Absolutely. You're
you
right.
feed
Start
them, you
off
go,
easy. Yep.
okay, because
Mhm.
my cat, she really like as long as she's fed and her bathroom is clean, she
Yep.
could. she is unbothered, right?
Mhm,
Like she'll
exactly. Yep.
come over and like hang out with us sometimes, but for the most part, she's up in
They're
her
very independent.
towers. She's so independent,
Mhm.
right? So I'm
Yep.
like, let us do that first and let's, get accustomed to having somebody else in the house with us first, right?
Oh, I
And
love it.
then get a pet. So
Mhm.
I'm so
And
glad I did that. And I'm
mhm.
definitely going to talk to you about what kind of dog I
Yeah,
should
what
get.
and speaking of animal communication, bridging the gap, that's one thing I laugh to myself about it, but one thing people don't understand is having a dog or a pet and the family's not on the same page. I've
Mm.
seen it go into divorces, ruin
Mm.
relationships, ruin a lot of things. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, yeah, because everyone's happy at first about getting the dog, but then usually one person ends up taking on everything. And
Mm-hmm.
so and honestly, when I communicate with the dogs, they will show me this whole dynamics and how there is a struggle. And that goes to show you that dogs, they hear everything. And mostly they're picking up on your body language, your
Mm.
emotions, your feelings, and stuff like that. So no, they're not understanding like yes and things like that. They understand hand gestures and your emotions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so good. Okay,
Yeah,
so we're
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
take a
yeah,
step
yeah.
back because I love this conversation, but we are here to talk about entrepreneurship. So
Oh, sorry, I know. Sorry.
I want to take a step back
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just talk to me about like actually building your business, right? You went from the
Oof.
point of like you're working on yourself, you're working on your own puppy and
Hmm.
in your like
Yep.
your home, and then you started training, you started
Building.
implementing different things. So what did that look like for you?
Okay, so essentially, I started off volunteering for a service dog agency, and what they do is train service dogs for people with disabilities. And so, volunteering there, I was just strictly there to puppy sit, which means that the puppies that are there that they breed for service, they need obviously people to watch them. I
Mm-hmm.
was there so much. They're like, "Hey, you want to learn how to train dogs?" Well, they didn't say that. They're like, "Help us do this."
Yeah.
And so then I realized, like, hey, I was training dogs and I loved it. And it was more, like I said, it wasn't about the sit and stay, it's about like the connection and seeing progress and change and seeing the dog being handed off to the recipient and things like that and the
Mm.
transformation. So during that time, COVID hit. And I knew they were encouraging me to go to school for dog training.
Mm.
And so when COVID hit, I went online for school for dog training, wrapped that up during COVID because we had the time. And then I decided instead of going back to doing the service dog training, I wanted to do the in home training for the reasons I told you. And so structuring that out, I would say as an entrepreneur, it was a lot of hit and miss. It was just me, no guidance. But we could talk
Yeah.
about if I knew what I knew now, it was a lot of trial and error. And so I just did a lot of research. Obviously got the business running in a town and then got my first client. And so what I'll say is from the start of when I truly started in 2021, when they let us out to the world, it was a lot of trial and error. And along the ways, I met the right people. And I kind of just took little pieces from everyone and learned, and just over the years, just kept on evolving. But
Yeah.
it was quite the process the first year and a half.
Yeah, I like what you said about like taking little pieces from,
You have
everybody
to.
that you really have to. It makes so much sense
Hmm.
that you just take
Hmm.
certain things from different people
Yes,
and you make it yours, right? You build your
exactly. Yep.
processes, you're doing what's best for you. So that makes
Hmm.
so much sense.
Yep.
Can you talk about like what it felt like?
Oh,
Maybe like
yeah.
once you I mean, in the beginning, right, when you're like building
Mm.
these things, you're going to school and you're like, I
Hmm.
gotta do these trainings even if sometimes it felt good, right? I'm sure sometimes
Yes.
it was like really impactful and
Mm.
insightful, right? But then the
Yep.
other times maybe it was just like, this
Yes,
thing I
I
gotta
would
do.
say, yes, starting off, you know how we are entrepreneurs, that we have an idea, we're gung ho,
Yeah.
everything was good. I'm the type of person who I'm a researcher by heart, so I like figuring things out. And the pieces, so the beginning phase it wasn't stressful because again, it was the beginning of COVID, so not much was going on. So in the beginning phase, it was like really happiness, not too much stress, just kind of go mode and autopilot. But then as time goes on and you look around, you realize you're not in a traditional 9 to 5. Who is there to vent to?
Mm.
Who is there to bounce ideas to? How do you know you're doing things right or wrong? Especially in the dog training business where most people are usually what they say is dog trainers are ideally people who want to keep to themselves. Or I hear like, you're so normal. I'm like, what does that mean when I first started? But I'm like, what does that mean? But now, like most people that are dog trainers, they say that. So, anyways, it was very lonely once I started to like, oh, I need help. Let me ask a question. And you go to turn, you realize it's only yourself. And it does play a role in your business and how it I say my emotional roller coaster. Definitely, you can see it play out in the business. Because if you're not feeling good, your business is not doing good. Like they say in the plane, save yourself first. And
Mm-hmm.
so, but I learned that later on. Before it's like, oh God, how can I fix this? Who can I talk to? What can I do? And I did a lot of impulsive decision making as far as marketing, based on what I was seeing trending, what the other person was doing. Spending a lot of time in regret with the finances early
Mm-hmm.
on instead of just trying to push forward, because there's no one there that's going to be like, oh, Pam, it's okay. You really have to sorrow and
Yep.
just keep going. And so I would say, as an entrepreneur, it's definitely always going to be a roller coaster. It's just that I know how to bounce back a little bit easier. And with my business, there's a lot of trends with like when people will call and things like that. So it does make it easier. And I do have a semi support system now that we are on the blocks and other entrepreneurs around, but it's a little bit easier. But as an entrepreneur, you have to want to reach out for help.
Oh yeah.
Some people want to do it by themselves, and granted, you want that's your baby, but you only know what you know. You'll be surprised. Don't think you know it all because you don't. There'll be that time comes when you think like, oh man. And I was like that sometimes, like I got this, but you really don't. But it's okay to take ideas and bounce ideas off of other people, even if they're not in the same industry.
Absolutely, absolutely. My biggest thing is like, don't do this alone, right? Like, yes, like you said, the baby is your business,
Hmm.
right? It's your thing and you're passionate about it, but you're only going to grow it and make that bigger by working with other people, collaborating with other people, finding coaches, finding trainings, things like that. So,
Absolutely.
yes, don't do it
Hmm.
alone.
No,
um,
don't. Mhm.
Hey y'all, Pink Lady here. I'm a podcast producer, director, coach, and host. And I want to tell you all about my production company, Pink Lady Productions. We collaborate with creatives like you who are driven to share your message by launching your podcast from A to Z and coaching you through the process. To learn more about our services, check out our website at pinkladyprod.com. That's PINKLADYPROD.com.
what does being an entrepreneur mean to you?
Mm. Meaning an entrepreneur for me is being able to have the lifestyle that I am happiest with, but also taking my joy in spreading it to others, whether it's animal communication or helping other entrepreneurs get to where I am in my business, where I feel as though where I am is very successful. And it took a lot of work, and I never want anyone to do it alone. So if that means me handing you the blueprint, have at it. But that's what it means for me.
I love that. I think a lot of the times, especially in entrepreneurship, we hear like, like, oh, you can do it, but not the ways of how we can do it, right?
Exactly.
Like
I don't
you
gatekeep.
oh, I love that because there is so much of that
Yes,
in this world, right?
absolutely.
In the world in
Yes.
general, but especially I think in entrepreneurship, a mentorship is a thing, right?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
mentorship is needed, right? I think for
Hmm.
mentorship on both ends, right? Like
Yes.
the mentor benefits and the mentee benefits, right? The
Absolutely.
mentee obviously benefits, right? Because you know what you're doing. I'm trying to get where you're going, so help
Yep.
me, right? But the
Yep.
mentor also benefits because it helps you think of different ways to break down what you teach, right? Like it gives you a
Absolutely.
different perspective, a different way to look at things. So
Hmm.
yeah, people are out here hoarding all
Yeah.
the resources like it ain't
Don't.
enough out here for
Yeah,
everybody.
and you have to remember you get back what you put out. And so
Mm,
I feel like all my time of helping others, they are thankful and they remember. So when they start their business, they like, oh, Pam, guess what? I know a dog trainer, or I know, help others so they can help you back, not in a selfish way or to help them just because you need something, but if you give back, you'll get back tenfold. That's what I believe.
Absolutely, because energy is reciprocal, right? So exactly like you said,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you're
Mm-hmm.
putting out there is
Yep.
absolutely gonna come back to you. And if you putting
Yep.
out that negative energy that always,
Mm-hmm.
like that's
Yep.
what's gonna
Yep.
come back to you.
Yep.
I love how you
Absolutely.
said like you're taking your joy and you're spreading it, right? Like
Yes.
that
Yes.
makes so much sense because we're yes, we're in business to make money. We got to make money, right? To live in this
Mm-hmm.
world. But that's not what it's all about, right? It's also
Mm-mm.
about being happy and content with the life
Yes.
that I live. Right? So
I
yeah,
feel
that's
like another little tidbit, entrepreneurship is allowing you to be your true you. That's what it should
mm,
feel like. I know it sounds all like, but I just thought about that. It's like really allowing you to be the true you. How many of
yeah.
us go to work like, oh, I hate the 9 to 5, or you went to college, don't like the job you do, still paying off loan? It's like, I feel like this allows you to be the true you. And also, one tip to entrepreneurs I would give is early on, I tried to do things like I call by the book, like, oh, hi, I'm Pam, like cookie cutter. But
Mhm.
people don't want that. There's so much going on in the world, and especially in my field with the dogs, they just want to know someone sees them and they feel heard.
Mm.
So me going up there and people look at me like Auntie Pam, the BFF, like the same way I'm talking to you. I don't go in there like, hi, I'm Pam, the dog. I'm like, hi everyone, what's going on? Come over here. Like, so just be yourself, because
Yes.
that's you have to remember you're going to be your own boss. So make
Yes.
it so that you enjoy waking up every day. Sometimes I have to
Absolutely.
remind myself that when I was working 6 days a week, I'm like, wait a minute, who's telling me to? No one.
Right, right.
Why am I doing that?
Like I need
Like,
to have a conversation with my
conversation
boss, who is
myself.
myself.
Yeah. Yes. So
Yeah.
entrepreneurship is having many talks with yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I love what I love that because it's so true, and when you
Mhm.
look at what you do, it's like so true too. You kind of took
Mhm.
these different parts of you. You took the training, you took the mediumship,
Mhm.
like, and now
Yep.
you're putting them together.
Experience.
And
Yep.
the more you are putting yourself into it, the more it is
Mhm.
working for you and you're
Yes.
successful, right? So that's
Mhm.
that's so cool. And when you think about
Mhm.
like successful entrepreneurs, right? You think like when they say something or when you read something that they said, you could hear it in their language, like you could hear it in their
Yes.
voice, right? Things
You're
like
like,
that,
that's not
like
them.
right, you can tell,
Mhm.
right? So I
Absolutely.
yes, that
Yes.
was
You have to be
golden.
yourself. Mhm.
Absolutely. I know you gave us a few tips along the
Oh, I did.
way, but
Yeah.
listen, you've been given the gems and I really appreciate
Yes.
it. But do you have
Mhm.
any other advice specifically? And then less
Mhm.
specifically for Black women entrepreneurs, because that is who the podcast is for. That is the
Yes.
community I'm
Yes.
in. So, yeah, maybe specifically for Black women entrepreneurs.
Oh, if I can give a whole TED talk for Black people in general, but Black women entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Everyone could be an entrepreneur. And what I would say is, as a Black woman, I feel like well, Black women are special, but we all have our
Yeah.
superpowers. But really just dig deep within and figure out what do you like deep down inside. And it's not like, oh, I like making jewelry. It's not hobby-ish. It's just what is your soul calling for? Do you want to help
Mm.
people? Do you want to, and don't feel so gung-ho to just pick one thing, just let it kind of unfold. But what I will say for Black entrepreneurs is start connecting and networking with folks. It doesn't even matter. Just get out there. Go to the places where you think that you want to get into, or a field that you want to start. So, for instance, when I first started, I didn't know where to go to for any dog training things. So, I went to networking events,
Mhm.
and through that, I let people know what I did, and they're like, "Oh, I have someone for you." And then I'll link with that person, and next you know, I'm on a path to entrepreneurship that I wasn't ready to start, but I just got jump started. So just jumping out there, there's no right. There is a right way to start, but I know it can be scary. And as a Black woman, I know you may have. It could be any woman, but you may have like family, a lot of things going on. And I know for me, I always say to myself, if I didn't heal myself or just take time to talk to myself, I don't know if I would have been an entrepreneur, because a
Mhm.
lot of times we're in that like autopilot goes zone because we have bills to pay and things to pay as and things like that. Entrepreneurship is for everyone. Black women, entrepreneurs and women, you can do it. You can be successful like us. You just have to get yourself out there. I know all of us scroll social media. So even if you see someone you like, entrepreneur or not, start following them, asking those questions, but it is possible. And
Yeah.
it can be scary. That's my main takeaway. Even me talking about this, I don't know why I'm feeling the nerves that I felt when I was getting started. And I
Yeah.
think that's what would set a lot of people back. But just, you don't have to tell anyone, just tell yourself. Start taking notes, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love. Oh, I really
Hmm.
love what you said about networking because that is so important, right? And we don't.
Hmm.
I didn't realize how important networking was. If I
Yes.
would have known what I know now back then, right? Like I'm
Yes.
just thinking about how far I would be.
Hmm.
But yeah, networking, and it doesn't even have to be go to networking
And
events.
no.
Yes, right. But it doesn't have to
Hmm.
be those. It could be you going to the park and you just walking up to
That's what I
people and
do.
talking to
Dog
them,
park.
right?
Yes.
I always used to do that. It's so funny
Me
because my
too.
mom, she
Hmm.
would always look at me like, "Did I not teach you not to talk to strangers because you just talk to
I
random
talk to
people?
everyone. Me too. I talk to anyone. Stand in line. Hey,
Why
what are you doing?
not?" Right? Like I just
Hmm.
think it's a way of gaining a new perspective, maybe a new friend, a new insight, right? And you can always learn from those opportunities. So take the
Absolutely.
opportunity.
And just with the piggyback of what you're saying, it doesn't have to be like a networking, like in person. I know, believe it or not, I am camera shy. Sometimes I can be kind of, because I just talk, 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 talk. I'm a natural butterfly, but I sometimes in person I'm not like that because I people are like, whoa, that's too much. So it doesn't have to be in a traditional sense of in person. You could do online. I know they have speed,
Yep.
not dating, but speed networking
Yep.
on some of the sites. So it doesn't have to be in a traditional sense. It could just be like inboxing someone. So don't feel like it has to be. That's one thing about entrepreneurship. You can do it any way you want to.
Yes, yes, yes. I also like what you said about like not being tied to the one thing, right? Like a
Hmm.
lot of us, especially when you talk to entrepreneurs, like you'll hear like that first business that they started is usually not
Is
the
that
business
not?
that they're doing right now, right? It's not the thing that
Hmm.
they became successful in. It's just the
Hmm.
thing that they
Uh-huh.
did to learn how to become successful and what they actually wanted to
Exactly.
do,
And
right? So that's why it's
hmm.
important to really just like try new things, lean into
Yes.
things that you're curious about, right? Learn new things, right?
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yep.
don't feel like you're tied to one thing. I know a lot of black women in general, not necessarily entrepreneurs, but especially like moms,
Hmm.
and you know, when you build your life, you kind of feel stuck in it, right? But
Yes.
my message
Yes.
is that you are not stuck. You can always make a different decision. You can always change your
Hmm.
life, right? So
Yep. Yep. Yep.
yeah.
And what helped get me to entrepreneurship, and I didn't even know was happening during the time I was in COVID, I was in a really bad place. But I tell everyone follow her program. I did Mel Robbins' Best Decade Ever, and it was easy and simple for someone who like when you're overwhelmed, got things to do, it's just you don't have time to really put your focus on a lot of things at once. But
Yeah.
that program helped me for like a whole 2 months, like 5 minutes a day, get into where I am now. And just honestly, in the beginning is a lot of building up the self-esteem, the courage to even speak the words you want to start a business.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's what that helped me with in getting started.
I'm so glad that you brought that up because I was just my next thought was kind of trailing on like mindset because I know there had to
Yes,
be
let's,
some
yes.
okay, right? I know there had to be some shifts along the way, right? Some things that you had to change. Um to to be successful, right? A lot of us think that this is the way it is, right? The traditional ways, that's how it has to be, like that's what you have to do, right? But you talk a
Hmm.
lot about making it yours, right? So can
Yes.
can you talk about like maybe some of the mindset shifts you had to make, some of the mindsets you had before and like what they are
Okay.
now?
Yeah. So in the beginning, I was like, okay, I Googled how to, start a business. Oh, you need systems in place, right? So for instance, a good example, I needed like when people call like an intro script. So instead of saying hi, you calling for dog training, I had bought like this template and I was following it to a T. And they would say one thing, I would read off it, and I'll say another thing, and I'm like, wait a minute. Um, I wasn't really closing. I was closing sales on it, but it didn't. It felt like it wasn't me.
Mhm.
Like I wanted them to buy because of me, not because of a script. And so what I started to do over time was just go off the script a little bit. So I still kept the same format, but just like, be more me, like, hey, Pam, down for pause. Thank you for calling instead of hi, so just be more natural with it. And
Mhm.
so a lot of time along the way, all these systems that I had in place that were cookie cutter, I made it more sounded like more my tone.
Mhm.
And then, far as the package structures, I was in a workshop for dog trainers who wanted to start a business. Of course, they give you templates and how things should look. And so, as I started getting going in business, I'm like, this is not really me, how I want to do this package. Now that I know what my clientele wants, let me just reduce this to 4 sessions and let me do this type of training. So, don't feel like you have to have everything set in stone. You can follow the template, but then tweak it so it's yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Make it like be present in the
You said
moment, I think,
Roman,
right?
yes.
Because that's what those
hmm
templates don't account for, right? They
No,
account for
no.
the average conversations, but a lot of times
hmm
you're not having the average conversations, right?
No.
You having those personal connection conversations because
Yep.
I find, right, that a lot of the people that are coming to me, they're coming to me for me, right?
Yes.
They're not
I the
coming
same.
because right,
No.
right. There are how many podcast producers out there in the world, right? Like,
Yeah.
let's not
It's
even
almost like
think
you're
of a
selling
number.
yourself, not selling in the bad, but
Exactly.
yeah, you have to sell yourself first before they buy onto what you're selling. Especially if you have a
Exactly.
high ticket item like I do, you have to really, be someone. And I always tell my clients too, like, hey, the reason why my pricing is a lot, but we're having this first meeting because I'm going to be in your house for like the next 3 months. You have to like me just as much as I like you because I need to be welcomed into the family. They laugh like that, but it's true, right? You
Yeah,
want to, if you're going to be working with someone for a long time, you want to like them, you want to vibe with them. So that's why it's
absolutely.
even more important to make it yourself if it's your own business, because whatever business you have, you're going to be spending a significant amount of time with that person, I'm assuming. So you want to make sure it's a good match. It's almost like dating too.
Absolutely. I'm like you, where like the least amount of time that I've had clients is probably like
hmm
3 months or
Exactly.
maybe, yeah, like three,
hmm
2 to 3 months, right? Like
hmm
that's the least amount of time that I've had clients. My clients that I have now, like it's been over a year. It's been multiple years with some of them,
Yeah.
right? I have two main clients right now, and with the one we've been going strong for this. We're going into our fourth year. So it's like
hmm
we actually have a pretty intimate relationship, but we only have that still client, like we don't call each other friends, we
Yeah.
keep up boundaries, right? But
Yeah.
we
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
only have that because I let myself be myself, right? I stopped trying
It's
to please everybody. I stopped trying
absolutely.
to just get people to hire me. That's what it was at one point.
hmm
I can't even lie. When I was
It
talking to
gets
people,
like
I'm
that
just like,
sometimes,
whatever you want, like I'll
and they
do.
can feel that too. Yep.
Right. Right,
hmm
absolutely. And now it's funny because now I'm on the other side of that, right? When I like talk to people for coaching or trainings or things like that,
hmm
like I could feel when you're not being
It's,
sincere, and it's just
exactly.
yeah,
I
it's
can
just
tell.
like
Yep.
no, I don't want that.
Once you're
Yeah.
entrepreneur, ladies, you'll be like, I know what's going on here.
Yes, absolutely. It's a
Yep.
little deeper.
Yep, yep. Oh, one other thing I want to add for Black women
Yeah.
entrepreneurs is I'm in a field that is predominantly not our race or
Hmm.
color. I have met two people in the 5 years, 6 years I've been training that were African American or a minority, and they don't even live in the state. We all don't live in the same state. I just met them through social media networking. So
Hmm.
with that being said, don't be afraid to get into fields where you don't see many people like us, because there is room for us and
Yes.
everyone. There is room. Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
Mhm.
we're gonna bring a different flavor to it. So go ahead and try that
And
thing.
that's what they're saying too. They want to see more of me. So this year, I'm showing more of me on my social media. So,
And I see your videos and I'm like, yes, personality, like I love it. So, yes. Talk about the biggest mistake dog owners make when training their dogs and what actually works instead. We'll go back to dog training for a little bit in
okay. Yep.
a minute.
So, as an overall umbrella, I would say not taking the time to, I can't say all dog owners, but taking the time to choose the right dog training method or dog
Mm,
trainer for your dog. A lot of times when you're reaching out for a dog trainer, again, usually there's something going on, you panic. So the first person available, you're like, fine. But then, depending on what type of training it is, it could set your dog back. It may not be the right trainer for your dog. There are different type of dog trainers. I specialize in puppy and teen dogs. There's some that does reactivity or aggression, shock collar. So the biggest mistake is reaching out to, especially for the trainer, maybe that use shock and you have a puppy, that's going to set them back, and then you have more problems. So that's one of the biggest mistakes. The other one is, again, going back to your dog's needs, not truly understanding the needs of your dog before you get them or even while you have them. And if you can get the right trainer or the right training on board and figure out your dog's needs, things will go a lot easier. Not saying you won't need training, but like I said, you'll see a decline in
Yeah.
the behavior issues that you're having.
Yeah. What would you say to those people who think that like breaking the dog and like obedience is the number one thing and like, the
Hmm.
dog has to do what I say. People who have
Yeah.
that mindset, what would you say to them to maybe sort of
Yeah.
try to
Okay.
shift that?
So two things. Myself as a trainer, I never try to change anyone's opinion or force anyone's opinion on me of them. I can only educate them on the facts. So first and foremost, what I will say is that dogs learn by experiences and things they go through. So
Mhm.
breaking a dog will just make them become fearful of you.
Mhm.
The same way if I told someone, "Oh, I'm going to break you until you do it," you probably wouldn't like me anymore. So what makes a dog any different? So
Right.
that method doesn't really work. It just, if the dog is listening, it's one because they're scared or they're shut down. So breaking a dog's never a good idea. But the second thing about that is, oh, I already mentioned it, is that dogs learn by association is going to set the dog back either way. And so just never a good idea.
Mhm.
What I would say is there's a difference between breaking a dog and putting on stern boundaries. I would like to call it that. I hope people are doing. Breaking a dog to me means like not hitting, or it could mean that for some people, but breaking a dog just means like force, like not good. Maybe, sit, like just a tone and stuff. But
Mhm.
boundaries just mean like if you tell your dog to come, they're not coming, you go get them. If they're not sitting, you make them sit, but just do the hand gesture. So just following through what you're gonna do when they don't do stuff. So if your kid says, if you ask your kids to do the dishes and they don't, it's not like, okay, fine. It's like, no, let me walk you over. You're going to do the
Right.
dishes. So there's a difference between being like, people think dominance mean like you have to be hardcore or mean. No, it just means enforcing boundaries.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I think that's
Hmm.
a great point,
Hmm.
especially about dominance, right? Because
Yep.
I don't know about dogs too much because I've never had a dog. I've
Hmm.
only like I've had friends, a few of
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
friends
Yeah.
have dogs and I love their dogs, right?
Hmm.
But I know that my cat can definitely tell the difference between me and my partner,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Like, and
Hmm.
I've heard this, right? I grew up with a single mom, so I didn't have a dad in the house, but I've
Hmm.
definitely heard the conversation, right, about like a man's voice, you have that deep
Oh,
voice or you got
definitely.
that
Dogs
vibrato,
too.
right? Things like that, right? So
Hmm.
I'm just curious. I don't know if that applies with dogs
Yes.
too. Okay.
Absolutely. So
Um,
I'll go to a family's home and they're like, "Oh, my dog is afraid of the husband or whatever."
mm,
But what I talk to families about is dogs and experiences. Husbands naturally have a deeper voice, so even if they mean well, it just sounds like. You have to remember, dogs are down here.
right.
So pretend like your dog. It's like, "Oh my God, the 6 foot giant's like, hello,"
Yes.
and so automatically they respond more to the husbands because they think they're being authoritative. And
Mhm.
two, usually the husbands, whether they know it or not, are no nonsense. Like if the dog jumps, they're like down. And
Mhm.
us moms, I'm a sucker too. I'm a dog trainer, and I'm like, oh, jump on me.
Yes.
No, why are you doing that? My
Yes.
husband's like, aren't you a dog trainer? I'm like, not after five.
I love
Not
it.
after five. And so it really just depends on the
Yeah.
boundaries. Like if people saw my dogs with me, they're like, "Are you really a trainer?" I'm like, "Yeah." In fact, I tell people, look, don't worry about what other people think about your dog. If you don't mind your dog jumping on you, fine. Just make
Yeah.
sure they're not jumping on other people.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother talk. But yeah, so that's my thoughts.
Yeah, no, that makes so much sense. You gave me a lot to think about
Yeah.
because I notice like he'll be like, "Come here," and she'll come right over, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Come here, mamas," and she's like, Ignore me.
Maybe. Then you got
Completely ignore. Maybe she'll look and then like ignore me.
Yep. Yep. That's my dogs. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Hmm.
so funny. And I like how you say too, right? It's about you and your relationship with your dog. It's not
It
about
is.
nobody else. It's not about what they think of you. Like it doesn't matter. It only
Nope.
your relationship is what matters.
Exactly. I always say your dog can do whatever when I go into clients' homes, I'm like, your dog jumps. Do you care? And they're like, not really. I'm like, okay, then we don't have to work on it. But I always say, talk about safety first. So if any
Mhm.
of the things your dogs are doing going to impede on guests or strangers, then we have to work on them not doing it to them. But as
Right.
far as what they do in your home and what you allow them, that's on you. But I will educate them on, everything that comes along with it. But usually it's not anything crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about? Anything maybe we missed or didn't go far
No,
enough
I just
into?
I just really love this conversation and the podcast you have for Black
Thank you.
entrepreneurs and women, just because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of us out there, but we're just not all in one spot. So it's always good to come on and share my insight and you spread it across to everyone else. And maybe one day we all can get together, or maybe you'll have a panel and we
Oh,
can all chat.
okay.
I'll be
Okay.
down, so down for that. I think it's so worth it. I love this.